Hi, I'm Todd Wente, and this is the Daily 180. 180 seconds of motivation and inspiration intended to help you take action and improve your life. Today is episode 190 of the Daily 180, and we're going to be continuing our series on the rules by moving on to rule number 13. Rule number 13, never involve lawyers. Now, this one's going to require a little bit of explaining, especially to any of you who might be watching this who are planning to go to law school, like my daughter, or to those of you who may already be lawyers. Let me explain. Again, this harkens back to the NCIS days when we were watching the show, and one of Gibbs' rules, rule number 13, was never involve lawyers. He was an investigator, and his concern was that whenever lawyers were involved, they were always the ones saying, no, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't take this action because there is a law in place that prevents this action from taking place. There is documentation that you need to provide. There's some kind of a hole or a loop that needs to be closed, or a hoop that you have to jump through. So his answer was never involve lawyers. Always do whatever you need to do and let the lawyers worry about it later. So what does this have to do with us? Well, I guess the best way that I can describe it is this relates a little bit to the rule of sometimes it's easier to ask forgiveness than it is to ask permission. Or maybe said another way, don't involve people who are always going to tell you no. There is a time and a place for people to look at things and say, have you considered? In fact, one of the things that I do all the time as part of my job and as part of my life is to look at people and say, what else do we need to consider before we take this particular course of action, whatever that course of action might be? Asking for input from experts is always a valuable thing. But if you know that the people that you're going to go to are going to tell you no, if you know that the people that you're going to go to are going to tell you that you can't do something, and not because it's not wise, but because they just think it's a bad idea, or because they think that maybe you need to do it a little bit differently, maybe those people should not be involved in your plans. I've seen lots of plans executed in my life that were a little bit harebrained, a little bit sketchy, and that worked. I've also seen lots of situations where people have told me, no, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. And they were right. But the things that I learned from executing the plan or from attempting to execute a plan were better than if I just sat back and said, I'm not going to take any action at all. Now, again, it's always nice to have those people on our side to be able to help us clean up the mess that we've made, learn the lessons, and clean everything up a little bit later. But if they've got somebody that's going to be telling you no and stop you from taking the right action at the right time, maybe it's best not to involve them. Rule number 13, never involve lawyers. Hey, if you like what we've shared with you on this one, like it, share it, subscribe it. If you don't like it, share it with somebody you don't like, I guess. My name is Todd Wente. This has been the Daily 180. Go forth and conquer. We'll see you next time.